Herbie, you had a question that you were mentioning during the break to Rob.
Yeah, Rob, there's 2 or 3 things I want you to talk to the folks about tonight. With Memorial Day coming up,
Yes.
this one just crossed my mind, getting out on the water.
Boating.
If you're out in your boat
Right.
and you've got alcohol, talk to us about that.
Well, BUI, boating under the influence, is quite common, and we don't think about it as much, but it's the same, exact same penalty, exact same limit of liability and everything as if you're in a car. The car and the boat are no different. I mean, we've had scenarios where people have been on any motorized vehicle. George Jones was famously pulled over for on a lawnmower.
That's
so
right.
it's a motorized vehicle.
Okay.
We have golf cart DUIs quite a bit that happen.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues, but boats are a big issue. Everybody goes to the lake. Traditionally, people are drinking, they're cooking out, they're having a great time, but they don't realize, you know, with the sun and everything else, they can get impaired, and that's the key issue, impairment.
Right.
And they can get impaired quite easily, and they're subject to you know, being pulled over, and of course, of the boat, of course, I know we've just had that issue with the boats having the wrecks up in the lake there,
Yes.
but you know, you can hurt somebody very easily.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So draw straws to see who has to be the designated driver.
You
on
need a
the boat
designated
next
driver,
weekend.
correct. That would be the answer.
And Rob, another thing that I always love for you to talk about is simply being in possession of an automobile, not even driving,
Right.
but in possession of an automobile, and how that works with a DUI.
Well, it gets back to what we were talking about with constructive possession. You're in possession. Great example, people often think, well, you know, I've had something to drink, I'm not going to drive. I may just sleep this off. Stay in the car. Problem is, with those keys are right there, you've got the ability, you've got the custody and control, and you can regain and drive off in that vehicle. And that's all that's required to get a DUI in Alabama. You do not have to be driving the vehicle. They do not have to see you operating the vehicle. If the keys are in the possession and you have the ability to drive that vehicle, that's a legal DUI in the state of Alabama.
Wow.
So do you recommend, and we've talked about this before, do you recommend getting out and putting those
Yeah.
keys on the back tire or so?
And we have talked about that.
Yes.
There's Supreme Court cases that say if you got out of the car and placed your keys maybe on the tire, the bumper, somewhere outside where you got back in the car with no keys, then you have no potential to regain custody and control and drive off in the vehicle. But if they're in the pocket or they're in there next to the seat or in the ignition, you can easily start the car and drive off.
Yeah.
So that would be a DUI.
Yeah.
And Rob, another thing that I love to hear you talk about, prescription medications.
Well-
Let's say I have a prescription medication that causes intoxication.
Correct.
Can I get a DUI for that even if I've got the prescription with me?
Absolutely. People often will take the breathalyzer and they blow a .000. They still get charged and convicted of DUI because oftentimes it could be prescriptions, it could be medications, it could be marijuana, it could be a combination of all of this. Even the vapes. We're getting a lot of kids that vape. There's things they're buying everywhere that they put in the vapes, and it's causing them to be impaired.
Yeah, that's the word, isn't it?
It's
Impaired. Not-
impairment.
it's not
Impairment,
drunk, it's
impairment is the critical issue.
Right.
Okay.
Are you an impaired driver where you're a danger to others on the roadway, not just yourself, but other people you put in harm's way? You're impaired. You're not, and it's a subjective issue with the officers because if they don't take you down and draw and do a blood test, and some things don't come up in a blood test.
Right.
And we've got people taking prescriptions, psychiatric medications, illegal substances, vapes, a combination of everything. Just a whole group of things together.
Wow.
And alcohol.
Right.
But it's not always alcohol. It's often not alcohol.
And under the law, it just doesn't always have to be
Doesn't
that.
It does not have to be.
Wow. Very informative. Very informative. Thank you so much just for that insight.